Hello. Well, I'm Tim, and apparently we're not going. Oh, there we are. Now we're live on Periscope as well. Hello, Periscope. Hi, Facebook, and YouTube, obviously, if you're a subscriber. Do us a favor and shoot the shit with us live, please, because there's not a whole hell of a lot to talk about tonight. I mean, we're going to pull up a few articles from kneesupmotherbrown.com and do a few hammers polls, but we would prefer and really appreciate the interaction amongst you viewers. So whether it's Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube, we will see the comments as we go along. So hello, Thibaut. Nice to see you. So anybody has anything that they want us to talk about, fucking let us know. Really, really cool. So anyway, tonight we have from the Philly area, but he's in New Orleans tonight. If you can't tell. Yeah. It's like, what is it, Mardi Gras, man?
Yeah, it's pre-Mardi Gras.
Jesus.
We got 2.5 weeks of Mardi Gras.
Damn. Well, it's Wally. Wally from Wally World, on Twitter, and good friend of the show. And beneath me here is, damn it, Tommy, you're always fucking right below me, I swear to God.
Yeah,
Never should know how we figured this out. Tommy, Irish Tommy, on Twitter and all over social media now. He's joined Instagram as well and all that other good stuff. If you want to see some good, interesting pictures from Ireland, follow him over there as well. And then on the opposite side, we have Charlie. I'm sorry, recall Big George. I wish. But yes, Charlie Walsh. Such a pleasure to have met him and hand him that scarf that he was wearing. So that was great. And I got a great big hug out of it too. So definitely. All right. So just got to thank real quick Neil for popping in bright and early. I do see Foshizi and a new one, I guess, here. Station to Station 3576. Good morning, man. And Jungwa, I think, 69. Yep. Awesome, dude. Thanks for popping in. All right, we're going to start things off. I'm going to pull up a few articles on Knees Up Mother Brown, and we'll go from there and see if there's anything going here. Not that one. That's interesting. Son of a bitch. Well, first of all, before we can get into that, I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Charlie, were you even planning on going to the away match? No, you weren't planning. Do you know people who were frustrated, I suppose, at the how long it took them to cancel the match or reschedule it?
I've seen people mention it. I don't. It's one of those things I can't really speak about it from the comforts of my own home. But I can understand why someone would be a bit frustrated. But at the end of the day, you'd probably have preferred it to have gone ahead. So I don't know. You can see both sides of the argument, I guess.
Yeah, well, we didn't lose, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about last night. You know what? I don't really see much going on over here, so I'm not going to go there. How about that? We'll pull that up a little bit later. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Anybody got anything they want to talk about in particular? Tommy, what's on your mind, my man?
Well, like I say, there's not much happening at the moment, so all's a bit quiet. It was disappointing. That the City game was postponed. We're all really looking forward to that. I think particularly, Tim, I've been going on about Jared Bowen for a long time.
Yes. Or championship players in general, really.
Yeah, well, that's been my thing, obviously. Yeah. People who watch the show know that we don't mind the best talent from the championship nearly as much as we should, because there is talent down there. And Jared Bowen was a particular player that really caught my eye. Who excited me in the same way that James Maddison had a couple of years before, and obviously we missed out on him. Leicester came in and bought him for 20 million, which looks peanuts now. So I was absolutely delighted when we went in for Bowen and then finally got it over the line eventually.
That was stressful.
Painful as it was. Yeah, it's the usual West Ham, but I was delighted because usually, when you have one of these players that you absolutely love and you really rate and you think is going to be great, your club usually doesn't sign them. So I was absolutely delighted when we got that one over the line, especially when we stole him from under the nose of Palace. That was particularly sweet, I think. So I was very disappointed when that game was postponed because I think we were going to see him. I was hopeful that he would start that game, Bowen, and I was really looking forward to seeing him making his debut. So it was very disappointing, unfortunately, but that's the way it goes.
Now, what is it that you liked about him in particular? I've heard, the majority of the reviews I've heard on him are that he actually can score. That's great, as he knows where to be. But what are some of the, I guess, I don't know, the things that excite you most about Jared Bowen?
I think what I particularly like about him, and why I took to him as much as I did watching him play for Hull, is he reminds me actually quite a bit of Dean Ashton. He's really? 2-footed. Yeah, he's 2-footed. He can score with his left or with his right, which is a huge thing for me, for any striker. I don't know why more strikers, given the talent that's out there in the world and how many people play the game. It just amazes me how few players can actually use both feet. Dean Ashton was one of those, could shoot left or right, didn't matter to him, could score headers, and was a natural finisher. And I see a lot of that in Bowen as well. Bowen looks to me like a natural finisher with, real striker's instinct and finishes off both feet. So that's why he excites me. I think I don't want to get carried away too much. He hasn't played a game for us yet, and he still has a lot to prove. But my suspicion is that he could turn out to be the new Dean Ashton for us.
Charlie, what are your thoughts on Jared Bowen? I mean, before we actually got him over the line, were you excited? You heard anything about him, or were you just solely focused on Jordan Hugill coming back?
I mean, I'm always solely focused on Jordan Hugill, but the beauty of being a genius is that I can see many things. No, the thing is, I like him. I haven't seen enough of him. Being very honest about it, I think I've seen him play once, maybe twice. That even might have been against QPR. Now I'm thinking about it, what games I would have seen him in. But from what I know about him is he's very direct, and that's very good because we don't have enough players who are willing to just take the ball, go straight for goal. Yarmolenko is one, Antonio is one, and that's about it, really. Anderson will take the ball and then take it to the byline, cut it back, but he won't really just gun for goal in the same way that those two players will. And that's something that I think we sorely miss and sorely lack, especially in a situation where we are playing so defensive and we are so deep. It requires people to just grab the ball and to just go at the goal and not really almost just ignore everything else that's going on, which I don't like. As someone who obsesses about tactics a bit, it frustrates me. But in a situation we're in, it's incredibly useful to have. And as Tommy's just alluded to, that I think it's really good to go and get the best out of the Championship. I think if you can buy, there's been this whole talk recently about the idea of getting Championship players in preparation for maybe playing in the Championship and stuff like that, which I understand is maybe a slight concern, and I understand why people think it's a lesser league. However, in my opinion, Bowen was one of the few players like Maddison, like Max Aarons was last year, for example, who you couldn't get if you were another Championship team. It doesn't matter if you were the best team in the Championship. You would not have been able to go to Hull and said, here is money, we are taking Jared Bowen from you. It just wouldn't have happened. Yeah. He's a young, exciting player, and he could be very, very key to us surviving, to be honest. Because you look at Yarmolenko, I think his goals would be vital, but he's just not fit enough. It's just a fact of life. Antonio, again, not fit enough. But if you're playing Antonio on the left and him on the right, and you're really gunning for it, that could be a really, really good thing for us. A really good thing.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat room real quick asked if, where was it? If, I think it was Station maybe. Well, no, it wasn't. I'm sorry. Someone was asking basically if Bowen played alongside Snodgrass at Hull City. I don't know the specific answer. I do know that they were on the same squad in the 16-17 season. And when Hull was in the Premier League, they both played for Hull that season. I don't know when Snodgrass left. I don't know if they actually played on the same pitch together. But they definitely were at the club at the same time. But yeah, someone was asking that in the chat room. I
don't know off the top of my head.
Say no. I think is that the season? Did Snodgrass come to us in January that year? And my instinct would be if that's when Bowen made his debut for Hull, his senior
actually,
debut,
you know what? You're right. Wow.
Then he would have probably done it later in the year, so it probably wouldn't have crossed. Okay. I mean, they might. I mean, Bowen would have known him. Don't get me wrong; he probably would have known Bowen's existence. But I don't think their link-up player or anything would have existed at any point.
Gotcha. Wally, man, before we actually got Bowen over the line, were you excited about this player? I mean, have you heard of him before? Did you hear anything from anybody?
Well, first of all, I want to put in a plug for the New Orleans Hammer, Bradley the New Orleans. I'm very disappointed I didn't get to go see him over at Finn McCool's for the New Orleans gathering yesterday. So he is the greatest host. I've been there a few other times. But anyway, as far as Bowen goes, I know really nothing about him. But I think since he's coming up from the championship, I think he'll have, something to prove, and I think he'll be fired up, which is an improvement on some of our other players who are, just mailing it in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing some, real effort and grit from him, and maybe some rest for Noble with Suchek and him. So anyway,
tragically, I think Bowen is actually the one actual real natural finisher that we have. We don't really have anyone else who's a real proper natural finisher who has the instincts of a finisher that Bowen does.
And that will also keep the ball down. Antonio likes to.
Sorry, Tim. I would make the argument that Haller is a natural finisher, but he doesn't have the instinct to go for goal that Antonio or Bowen has. I think he is a natural finisher. I think when you see him when he's had the opportunity in close quarters, he is very, very good with it and has done very well with it. But he's not in those positions enough. But when he's been in them, he's been very, very good. And I think he's a very natural finisher. But it's that idea of actually taking the shots as opposed to looking for a link-up player or doing something else, if you see what I'm saying.
I think he's a natural bicycle kick finisher.
I mean, there's that, yeah.
It seems like whenever he has a chance to do a bicycle kick,
he wants it.
He wants it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, if that ball is at an obtuse angle, my boy's going for it.
He's got it.
Well, we've had Ray Borum on the show a million times, and he has been talking about Jared Bowen for quite a while, and in hopes that we would eventually get him. He even said that we weren't going to get him, then he said we were going to get him, and whatever. Long story short, he seems to put him on a pedestal, and I tend to trust what Ray thinks about players. I don't know. I'm just dying to see the kid play. I mean, I think, like you guys are saying, that he definitely has. I mean, he scores goals. I mean, it's not easy to score in championship. I mean, you ask Ross McCormick. I mean, he did it too, but it's a different type of play. It's aggressive, sure, but it's certainly not easy. I mean, it can't be easy to score in championships that many goals. But does he have the knack to actually do it in front of bigger crowds, on TV regularly, with that much pressure, with that 20-some-odd million pound price tag on his back? Will he be able to, handle that sort of pressure? Oh, also in a freaking relegation dogfight. I mean, can he step up and be the guy? I don't know. I mean, we'll wait and see another month, it seems, before we get to see that.
I actually like the fact that he apparently wanted to get more, weekly pay. And I feel like that's the sign of a confident guy, that he's like, hey, I deserve, a lot, more than what they were initially offering. So,
I think I don't have too many worries there, Tim, if I'm honest. I think Bowen has 16 goals in 24 appearances for Hull this season. Yeah. And I think he'll hit the ground running in the same way that, sometimes teams that come up from the championship and get promoted, where they have that kind of real enthusiasm in their first few games, where they come out of the traps really quickly and they're all for it and they're really up for it. I think he'll have that about him.
And mind you, for a shitty team, right? So he scored 22 goals last season, and they didn't even make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like they were not that quality of a club, and they were playing against teams that were, really fighting to get into the get into the Premier League. So I don't know. I give him credit. Sure, I'm excited to see him. But are we going to see him? That's another question too. I don't know.
I think actually a question that I was having a little conversation about, because I put my team out for the Man City game, And I played a flat back four, which I much prefer us to play. And I had Declan Rice sitting just in front of them. Then I had 3 in the midfield and I had 2 up top. So it was a 4-1-3-2. And I had actually Bowen and Antonio up front together. I didn't even put Haller in the team. So that's another debate. You know, if you're not going to go 3 up top, which 2 do you go with? Because for me, of the 3, I think Haller is the one whose place is in danger.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat room, I think it was Jeff Hathaway earlier, he said, now that we have Bowen, it's time to play Allaire in his best position, which is number 10. Kind of along those lines in a way, but I don't know. Well, let's shift gears real quick because Foshizi asked a question a while back, and I don't want to keep losing all these comments. He says, what do you guys think of the board inviting Hammers United for talks alongside the OSB? I think the board were trying to control the narrative of the meeting. I don't know. I mean, let's start with Wally this time. Wally, what do you think, man? You think the board's trying to control?
I'm sure they're doing their best, but I'm not big on understanding the politics of board, in, out versus the Hammers United and protesting. So I feel like, I'm not there or anything. So I don't understand why these owners, I mean, do they expect to make a profit or, from a football team? Is that what most owners do? Or are they just there to dump money into it? And I mean, I think that's what the supporters want them to just dump a lot of money in it. But I think maybe they want to, make profit out of it. So
that's a great point. That's a great point because in American sports anyway, I know for a fact that it's a toy for a billionaire. It's not. I'm starting to get confused about the whole European aspect of things because yes, the biggest clubs, yes, they continually make extra boatloads of money and they're actually making a lot of money off of it, but then you have other clubs that are struggling to survive. Some go into administration, some disappear altogether, etc., etc. But yeah, what are their thoughts? I mean, how do I put it? What they have been doing is definitely lining their pockets and making it an opportunity to make money off of it. Mm-hmm. But on the same token, if they're disengaging with the fans and they're distancing themselves from the fans and they're starting to build, something that's divisive with the fans, where are they going to get their money from? So a lot of these clubs that have more money than, or even there's a lot of clubs that even have less money than what our owners have. And what they do is all the money that comes into the club, they do all that they can to put money into the team so that they can stay into the Premier League and not worry about their pockets. They just want to at least break even and not, mess around with financial fair play and everything else. Mm-hmm. But obviously we're not an Arsenal. We're not in Manchester City. We're not in Manchester United. We don't have that kind of money. So I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. But no, I like the idea of the fact that, in America, I know for a fact it's just a toy, mm-hmm. For these people. It's not something where they can continuously generate even more millions and billions off of.
But if you, at least when I go to like the basketball or the American football in Philadelphia, they are selling every, they have groups where you can go and your little, dance team can go dance on the floor before the game, but it's like 45 minutes before the game and nobody's watching except for the parents, but they're paying a bunch of money to do that. So they're, they're squeezing every penny they can out of.
But at the same time, they're making those kids and those families feel part of the club. And that's something that I would see West Ham doing as well. Yep. Anyway, Charlie, I don't know what the point is, the topic. Oh yeah. So it's, you think the board is trying to control the narrative by inviting Hammers United for talks alongside the OSB?
As per usual with Fo, he's bang on the money because that man is a smart man. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like, I think they would control everything if they could. Yeah. I think them inviting them is purely a way to. They wouldn't invite them if they didn't have to. If they could get away with not doing it, then they would not do it. As you will see, they've done it for however long it's been around now. They've consistently ignored them in every single way, shape, and form. So the fact that they finally got to the stage where they've been forced to publicly say, "Hey, come on, get involved," is a good thing. Because it just shows that they are completely and utterly rattled. They are in the worst position they could be in. And I'm glad that it seems the media have paid attention to why Hammers United, for example, turned them down. Because I was of the opinion that they almost had to say yes to going, because I felt like from an outsider's point of view, and that's really where this pressure is coming from, although it is being created by the West Ham fan base, the pressure for them is very much the outside world getting involved with it is making it untenable for them. So I was of the opinion that they had to say yes because the outside world would look at it, and if they said no, they would go, "Oh, well, the board have said yes, therefore they're reaching out, and you're saying no, you're being belligerent, you don't care," or whatever. I'm happy to see people in the media who are writers for big newspapers and stuff paying attention to what Hammers United have said, paying attention to the way, and Hammers United, to their credit, have been incredibly good about the whole situation. I'm always impressed by their press releases. They come across as really professional, really know what they're doing, and that can only strengthen their case again to the outside world. Apart from like one or two places like Talksport, but who gives a shit about it? So like, realistically, I think it's a good thing that they've been invited because it shows how untenable their position is becoming. And let's be real, they would control literally everything if they could find some way to, I don't know, control just the way people wear their shirts. They probably would. Like, it's ridiculous, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and I'm glad they turned it down and that people listened.
Just real quick before I ask Tommy his opinion. No, I know what, Tommy, give your opinion, then I'll ask my question.
Yeah, I think it's just an attempt by the board, who are now very worried because they're getting a lot of bad press, and these protests, I think they know, are going to ratchet up. They're going to get more people at the next one. And so I think this is an attempt at trying to put out some fires by the board, trying to stave off any more protests, trying to bring these protest groups under their umbrella the same way they've done with the OSB. The OSB are essentially puppets of the board. When they go to meetings with the board, the OSB, they're not allowed to talk about football. You know, we're a football club, and they don't allow the OSB to. I mean, the restrictions they put in place on the OSB, no self-respecting supporters group would accept. They just wouldn't. So the OSB are a waste of space, and they're controlled, and they're trying to do the same with these protest groups and stave off any further protests, trying to put out these fires. And I think these groups were absolutely correct. It wasn't just Members United, it was WUSA as well, I believe, were invited, and they turned it down as well, absolutely correctly. I think this was kind of a panic move by the board, who were desperately trying to take control of a situation which they feel is escalating to a place where they're getting very, very uncomfortable, particularly now as the media are starting to really pile in on them. The sports media are really piling in on them now as well. So they're really feeling the heat. And I think this is just a desperate attempt to try and quell some fires.
Really good articles lately out there. Really interesting.
Long overdue, yeah, and it's good to see, because it's about time they were exposed nationally. Because, you know, us fans have taken quite a bit of stick, often from other fan bases and from some of these sports media people, you know, as if we were being unreasonable, or, you know, as if it was just about results on the pitch, and it goes far deeper than that. And I don't think fans of other clubs really understood. And I think a lot of sports journalists didn't really understand, you know, what our grievances were and why we feel the way we do. But I think that tide has turned now. And as usual, GSB brought it on themselves.
I mean,
you know, as soon as they threatened to sue Sky for the things that were said on the Sunday supplement, that was another kind of shoot themselves in the foot moment, and now the media are just out for them, and they're finally being exposed. So this is just desperation.
Yeah, I don't think there was any sympathy from the media for us fans, especially all of us were saying that they took our home away from us because we're in Olympic Stadium and we're the ones that got London Stadium, and I don't think, and we're still in the Premier League all these years, I don't think that there was any sympathy from the media until, like you said, until there was some stupid comments and backlash and the potential suing from the club. But real quick, I have two questions for Recall Big George down there. First one, this is just to throw things off a little bit. If Jordan Hugel was a wrestler, who would he be?
You raised an excellent. Listen, okay, let me break this down for you. Okay, the guy, right? He's got a big size. Okay, so we've got to take that into consideration. 2, he's got a lot of upper body strength. Yeah, you see him when he jostles for the ball, he can battle for it. Long balls are coming over the top. It's not phasing him. It's not phasing him. So
he's a baby face too, though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
he's a lovable rogue. Like you look at him and he's impossible not to think he's the greatest footballer who's ever lived. And if you disagree, you're not looking enough. I'm going to say he would be current day. He'd be Kevin Owens. All time, we're talking Ultimate Warrior, just pure pace, pure power, just running about, doing bits. That's the stance I'm taking.
Awesome. Well, second question is, do you ever see there being, say, a WrestleMania or some other event at London Stadium? And why hasn't there been one yet? You know what I mean? Is 60,000 too small?
Maybe. It's a weird thing to say, but maybe. I think if they came across here, the truth of the matter is, if they came across here, it'd probably be at Wembley. The last time they did a major pay-per-view here, when they did SummerSlam '92, that was at the old Wembley. That was sold out. That must have been 90 to 100,000 people probably. I don't know the exact number, but it was huge. If they were to do a major event, aka a WrestleMania, a Royal Rumble, or a SummerSlam, or even probably a Survivor Series, you would have to see it at probably Wembley, just because it's not just British people, it'd be European people who come across as well and make it very, very easy. Because we're not all like Aaron. Aaron won't see this, but we're not all like Aaron who can just go to America to watch WrestleMania. He's a West Ham fan, but he won't see this because he doesn't stay up late like I do. Yeah, but it would have to be Wembley. I've been to Wembley Arena to watch shows, and they do shows in the O2 as well.
Yeah,
if it was a major show like that, it'd have to be Wembley. But the thing is, it could happen in London Stadium. It's one of the good things about London Stadium.
I was just thinking because we've had multiple concert events there. We've also had baseball. And I'm just thinking that it being a half decent location, and it's a massive. It's definitely a stadium for that type of event. It's not for a football event, but it would be fantastic for a WrestleMania.
And apparently I haven't been there for a concert, but apparently they're amazing there. Apparently it does actually work really well for that. And you've been there as well now. You know the size of just the pitch. Yeah. I mean, you can fit a lot of people in that space. Oh, yeah. So potentially. And also it has world-class transport links, guys. Don't forget, it's world-class transport links, the tubes and stuff. Oh,
yeah.
Have they had American football there yet?
No, they Tottenham Stadium.
Yeah, Tottenham.
Yeah. All right, let's. I just want to do that for fun, real quick, because I've been meaning to ask you, but I just keep forgetting every time you're on. Anyway, what? This is from Jay Yaz. This is actually back at 8:15, so 15 minutes ago. He said, "What do you guys think about the players having a 5-day rest? 5-day rest." I think what he means is a much longer rest. Like, what do you think about this massive gap now? Do you think our team can actually, like, for example, with adding Kevin Nolan and that other guy, Nevin, or whatever his name is, into the coaching staff, now that we have more time, you think that it'll have any effect before our next match? I guess that might be the question he was asking.
I think it can only be beneficial, like, realistically. We weren't going into that match with any sort of huge form. We weren't going into it looking like we would have been on the front foot against any opposition, let alone Man City. So giving them more time to adjust, Socek, Bowen, giving them more time to adjust, giving the coaches more time to get involved. I mean, it can literally only be a good thing. We've been crying out for a winter break for a long time in this country. I understand why people don't like the idea of losing the Boxing Day games and stuff like this. I understand all that. But from purely a physical standpoint, we've been screaming out for more breaks in football, especially a winter break. And so giving them more time to rest and recuperate and get time together is hugely important. And it means that you can sort of, in a situation where you're playing a lot of games, you can't drill stuff into people as much, both in a training sense, but also in a mentality sense. And that's one of the things I'm most excited to see Bowen about, is I don't think he's going to come in with the weight of the world on his shoulders, because it's not going to be a situation where, like, one of our players gets the ball and they're like, oh, I'm afraid to do this because it might go wrong, because they've got that sort of negative mindset. I think he will hit the ground running in that sense. And that's something you can drill in over a long period of time. Give them a break from the last match, put it out of their minds, go, right, we're coming into our next match going for it with full guns blazing, not glazing, blazing. Yeah, so I think it's only a good thing. I don't think you can construe it in a negative way at all, to be honest.
Tommy?
Yeah, I think it actually can be quite helpful. I'm not sure how much it will do for the players that have been here all season. I don't know if it will do much for them. Remember, was it Bilic took them all off to Miami or something one season, and they all had their break in Miami, sunning it up, relaxing, doing a little bit of training, and then came back and were just as crap as they were when they left. So I don't think it'll do a whole pile for players that have been here all season, but it can help with getting some players back from injuries. They miss less games. So, there's probably, hopefully, at least one less game that Anderson might not miss. He might be available now for, City's game. So getting some players back fit, it can help, players that aren't quite ready yet. And as Charlie said, just getting people like Bowen and Socek a little bit more settled into the team. So I think it'll help in that sense. But for the players that have been there all season, I don't think it makes much difference, to be completely honest. I mean, probably makes more difference for teams that have played more games. Teams that are in Champions League and Europa League probably will be very thankful. Like Wolves, I'm sure will be very thankful of this little break, before they resume the knockout phase of the Europa League again. And they say Champions League teams is probably very useful for them to have that little bit of a break, because they will have some extra games. But for us, when we really just have Premier League, I don't think it makes a whole pile of difference.
Wally?
Yeah, I agree. I think one thing it might do is the break will, any hot teams that are on a good form, it'll cool them off, and then give the teams that are not doing so well like us a chance to regroup and get fit and figure out how to integrate some new players in. So I think it'll kind of level out the who's hot and who's cold, and I think that's advantage. That's an advantage. So yeah.
I think everybody's right in their own way. But I'm most excited about Kevin Nolan's addition. I mean, the addition of Kevin Nolan, man. That guy, man. I was calling for him, as our new manager to replace Pellegrini, because I'm fucking crazy. But there's something about Kevin Nolan that I just feel that this club needs. If it's first team coach, that's fine. He's getting his foot in the door. But anyway, that's the guy that will, definitely speak his mind, not put up with shit. Yep. I'll let David Moyes know how he's feeling too. So will it last? Will he get fired for being too, in your face and stuff like that? Well, hopefully. Just because, that's what everybody needs. That's what Lanzini needs. Lanzini needs some hands around his neck is what he needs. A good bitch slap. And I think Kevin Nolan would love to do that. And there's a few other players that need a good kick in the ass. And Moyes just doesn't seem that guy to me. I mean, he seems like he probably would scream and yell, "Wee!" But Kevin Nolan's the guy that I wouldn't fucking.
I'm glad you brought Kevin Nolan up, actually.
Okay.
I have a little thing to run by you guys. I'll be very interested to hear what you have to say, because we've got 13 games left. Now, the next 7 are very difficult. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, do you think there's a chance that if we do very badly, which is entirely possible over these next 7 games, and things are looking very bad, that out of panic, the board could actually sack David Moyes after those seven, or somewhere in those 7 games, and actually say to Kevin Nolan or somebody else, okay, you've got 6 games, save us. Because I wouldn't put panic past this board. Or do you think they will stick with David Moyes by hook or by crook, even if it means we sink with him?
Real quickly, I think they will stick with him because I don't know. In a perfect world, yes. I would love to see that situation happen. I would love to see Kevin Nolan finish the season and save us and become our manager next season. But I don't think that they're going to – I don't know. There's probably something in David Moyes' contract where it's just going to cost too much to get rid of him. I don't know. That's what I think. But anyway, it's Charlie, what do you think?
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not certain either way. I think my instinct says that they would keep him by hook or by crook unless it was a situation where we were mathematically relegated. Then I think all bets are off for what they do. Because I don't. Again, my instinct would say he might stay in the Championship as well if we were to get relegated. However, if it had gone so spectacularly bad that we were mathematically relegated before the end of the season, then I would suspect potentially, but I can't see them doing it, to be honest with you. If it was me in charge and we were looking like we'll go badly, I would just get rid of him and go all out for someone else, because screw it, he's not great in any way, sense. He's just not good. But I think they'll probably, unfortunately, I think hook or by crook is the perfect way. You said it. I think he's here for the season.
Wally.
Yeah, I agree. I think they had to, pay off a lot for Pellegrini, and I don't think they're going to want to do that again for Moyes, and we might still get relegated anyway. So I think we're stuck with Moyes for the rest of the season.
It could be a sense. I'm just thinking while you were speaking there, Wally. Like, it could be a thing where it could be a positive spin for them in a way. Like, if it's going badly, and they could, I don't think they will because they're stupid, but they could fire Moyes and then just say, look, this is a mistake. We're looking for a guy to take us forward, blah, 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 blah. It could be a situation where they can positively spin it in a way people would get behind them. They're stupid. They won't do that. Ignore me.
I think it would look like a Fulham situation, what they did with Scott Parker. I really do think that if it were to happen, I think they would give the reins to Kevin Nolan, and I think it would end up being a good thing. Whether Kevin Nolan doesn't get us or keep us up, or he ends up just getting us relegated because there's just not enough time. They just get rid of Moyes before the end of the season anyway. But my point is that a lot of people don't see what I see in Kevin Nolan as a manager. Look, he was a player coach in a piss poor situation with Leyton Orient, and he wanted nothing to do with it. I mean, it wasn't the fact. I mean, a lot of people are saying that he was sacked from there and sacked from Notts County, and I really don't believe it was that as much as there was just a piss poor situation within the club, and he wanted nothing to do with it either. Look at where Notts County is now. They're not even in the fucking football league. I mean, look where Leyton Orient obviously went through some ownership changes and came back up since. But at the time, it was a piss poor situation. And he still managed a 41% or 40+% winning percentage, which can David Moyes say that about us and with better players? And
can you say that about anyone?
Well, pretty much. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, my point is, I just get this feeling that Nolan is the type of guy who would make a fantastic manager if he had the right players. And I think that the guys that he has right now, I mean, would be great. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm really looking forward to it.
He would really need to get the right people around him.
Oh,
because he is inexperienced. So he'd have to really get the right people, the right coaches, right assistants in around him that could help him as well.
But so was Scott Parker, and look, so was Frank Lampard. You know what I'm saying? Though that they were similar type of players. They were like in your face, type of players, and they all worked under some great managers. I understand that a lot of people won't say Sam Allardyce is a great manager, but at the same time, when it comes down to studying, when it comes down to tactics, when it comes down not tactics, but when it comes down to training your team and getting your team ready for every match, Kevin Nolan worked under some really, really good managers. And I think that, he would benefit from that. I think he would be probably better off than Scott Parker would.
Well, not only did he work under some great managers, or Sam Allardyce specifically, he was brought in because of how good he was with the squad by Sam Allardyce. Every time Sam Allardyce would go somewhere, he would take him with him because he knew that he was his voice in the dressing room. He knew he knew what to do, and in that sense, I would suspect, and I don't know enough about
Noble's come out and said that too.
To be honest with you, not County Lane or I don't know, but I would suspect he's probably quite a good man manager because of that. I would suspect he's the sort of guy who knows what the team are feeling, how the team are feeling, how a specific player is feeling, and how to motivate that person. And in a situation where it was dire, and I don't think Moyes is a particular motivator at all. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anything he said and felt motivated in my entire life, at least. He would probably be a very good person to do it.
Yeah, when he first came into West Ham under Allardyce and was made captain, the first thing he did was he gathered all the players up and he told them to get their wives or girlfriends or whatever it is, their partners, whatever they had, and that they were all going off out together. I think he took them out on a boat or something. And they all basically went out together as a team with their wives and girlfriends and basically had a big giant bonding session. Every player had to get to know each other. And that's the kind of guy he is. He's just a natural leader.
I heard similar stories from his time at Notts County as well, and they did have a great run of form. I think in his first spell, his first season or part of season with the club, obviously did the ending of that tenure didn't really work out so well. But again, it was financial shit. It had to do with the owners. It had payments, players not getting paid, etc. That he wasn't too happy about. So he stuck it out for a little bit and then was officially sacked. But anyway. Moving on, there was someone who mentioned earlier, we talked about our different articles. I think it was Tommy brought it up, and we're talking about media finally giving back. I couldn't think of the guy's name. I know you guys probably mentioned it already, but if anyone watching this right now or before or after the fact that we're live, the Daily Mail, Oliver Holt, an apology to Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Gold, and the directionless West Ham. Basically, just check out that article by basically just Google Oliver Holt apology West Ham, and it's
excellent.
Hilarious.
Just dripping with sarcasm.
Yes, I love it. So if you guys haven't seen that, please check that out. There were a lot more people that popped in the chat room since we've been going, and like Penny Lawless and obviously Jay, as we mentioned. Gary Parrish is in here, and he says, "Hey, nice scarf, Charlie."
Right as I took it off as well. It's been protecting me during this massive storm we've been having, so it's good.
Yeah. So, Charlie, do you think it was really worth canceling the match? Was it that bad over there?
Like, how many feet of snow did you get?
Exactly.
No snow, just pure. I mean, we're a very terrible country infrastructure-wise. The second there's I remember I have a friend of mine who's South African, who moved here from South Africa, and I remember him getting really pissed off one day and texting me and being like, "My train stopped moving and everything's delayed. There's apparently some leaves on the line. Why is everything stopping?" And it's just we're a very terrible country infrastructure-wise. The smallest thing throws us all off. But to be fair, it has been very rough weather. Places are completely flooded. Wind is all over the shop. I struggled to get to Morrison's the other day. It's been a difficult time for us all. But yeah, it's been protecting me. Nice and warm around here. Comes much.
We will rebuild.
Yeah, we will. Storm defences and all. We might even be able to protect against floods one day. What a time to be alive that would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know last night on the show, I was having a little fun behind the scenes. You didn't see me, but I was playing around with the ticker and, messing around with them who were on the show last night. It was Lee, Selly, and John Black. And I did mention that tonight we were actually also going to have Luis from Brazil, from Hammers, Brazil. But he's actually, excuse me, I'm sick. I wasn't even going to do a show tonight, but I did anyway. For the love of you guys.
All right.
But Luis is working with the Red Cross at the moment because there was some serious flooding in Sao Paulo, so he wasn't able to join us tonight. He's going to pop in tomorrow evening, hopefully. I don't know who's going to be on with him, but he's got to be here, I guess. And then Wednesday evening, I know we definitely have what's his name? Who was it? Oh, Lee. Yeah, that's his name. Lee. Sorry. Lee and Penny. Not Penny. Jesus Christ, my brain's all over the place. It's this hat's too tight. That's what it is. I can't stand these new era baseball caps. These fitted ones, they just squeeze my skull. But you don't want to see me without a hat on, so forget it. All right. What are we saying again? Forget it. Anyway, this show is all week. Don't worry about it. And yeah, we're going to continue with this one. Somebody mentioned something about Sacco in there too. I don't know if there's dead serious, but I heard something about we're looking at getting. Would you take him back for 6 months on a free? Just quickly go around the room. Wally, would you take DR for Sacco back?
Absolutely. That guy had pace. That's what we need. And he'd be fired up, I think. Plus he speaks French. He and Allaire can, talk to each other, and there you go.
And Lee can talk to them too.
Lee can give him some.
PSG.
Lee used to live in France, you know.
Yeah.
Did he really? Oh my God.
Yeah. I hope.
He doesn't like to talk about it, but
he doesn't.
He did.
This is the funny thing is that I wish to God he doesn't watch anything that he's not on. He doesn't. It's not like he watches the show. So, this I think he'd find this very funny, but he doesn't watch these shows, man. Fucking Lee. Anyway, so last night for shits and giggles, I think it was this one. No, not that one. I'm sorry. I put this. It was so funny because nobody knew Lee knew I was back there, but the other guys didn't know that I was back there. And I said, so if anytime John says casino, please drink. Anytime Sally says Denver, drink. But then there was this one. Every time Lee says Texas, France, PSG, hockey, or baseball, or Chelmsford too. Yeah, Jesus, she's got a whole long laundry list. That'll get anyone shit-faced drunk.
You could add Holland to that as well.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. Rotterdam. And yeah. But anyway, yes, Kevin Nolan will save us. So, that's another story for another time. I had too much fun last night. But anyway, all right. So where are we at? What are we talking about? Anybody else have any?
I think you were asking about Sacco.
No, it's Sacco. Sorry.
Sacco,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted. I just heard France and went ballistic.
Yeah.
Let's go with Tommy. Would you have Sacco?
If he would come in for 6 months, I wouldn't be put out by it. I liked him when he was here. I don't see what harm it would do. Might not play much, but I wouldn't be put out by it at all. But I wouldn't think it's on the cards. I think he was not a happy chappy when he left. He had some grievances for sure. So whether he'd want to come back here, I have my doubts. But if it happened, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be dancing about it, but it wouldn't put me out either. I guess I'm neutral to that one. I'm not pushed, to be honest, either way.
Charlie, Sacco.
If you're missing a bit of mayhem, get it back. Just bring the mayhem back. Let's get it all involved. Bring back Kiyate, anyone who was around during that time. Let's just bring them all back, see what happens. I wouldn't, but just because.
Tim's thinking the T word.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking. I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
he wasn't one of the alleged mayhem bringers, but I wouldn't. But just because I feel like we've already got one person crashing into walls outside of people's gardens, we don't need another one. Do you know what I mean? Antonio's got that sewed up right now, so we're good.
All right. Well,
what do you think?
I would. I'd do it. Doesn't hurt. I don't think we need him. I really don't. I think that he would definitely be useful to speak to his fellow Frenchmen. Make Allaire feel a little bit more comfortable since we're never bringing Payet back. But maybe they could talk sense into each other. I don't know. Listen, Sacco, when he was with us, when he actually played, I thought he was fantastic. But the guy didn't fucking play a whole hell of a lot. He kept getting benched.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like he'd be on form and then he'd get benched. But again, that was fucking Bilic, and he loved to do that all the time and misplay people in different positions. And he's like, "Oh, you're in form? Okay, I bench you now. Okay, great." All the time. So
like Moyes with Fornals,
Oh yeah, no, that exactly. So Bilic out. Oh wait, that's already happened. Never mind. What else? Allaire is a donkey. Get rid of him, says Mr. Beatbox. Dre Beats. That's true. I don't know. I think.
Can I put up a defense for him? Can I try? Can I give it a swing?
You can try. Yeah, go for it.
And then I can get roundly voted down after. Is that okay?
Sure.
I think we aren't playing to strengths, and it's incredibly frustrating to watch. The guy, we bought him for 45 million after he played in what was essentially a front, almost three up front, but a front two for lack of argument, let's say. And we didn't look at him at all. It's very clear we just had no idea who we were buying, and it's kind of infuriating to watch because we spent the entire time chasing Maxi Gomez, and that's fine. I don't begrudge that. He was Pellegrini's number one target. It was a shame we didn't get him because that was sort of who he wanted, right? And then it didn't work, and the board were under a huge amount of pressure. We're like, crap, we need to go and buy. It was clear that Haller would be on for sale because Frankfurt, they're not flipping, I don't know, Man City. They're not going to just hoard their best players. They had to get rid and then they could reinvest because they're a smart football team, and it's weird that that's what smart football teams do. They invest smartly, and so I think we just panicked and went to get him. And it's clear that we don't know. I still don't know if we know what to do. David Moyes looks at him, and I feel like we've been just screaming for a player of like genuine quality up front for years. Everyone's been saying it, and yet we look at him and we go, do you know what he needs to do? Isolation. That's what will help him play up front. He's going to get the goals if we'll just leave him up there, and he's just going to, like Ronaldinho, he's going to twine some people up, not make a couple of people on the. It's going to be great. Put him in a front two or a front three. Get people around him. When you play a long ball to him, have someone next to him to pick it up the second ball. It's not complex, and yet we don't do it because David Moyes is an idiot. He's an absolute moron.
Pellegrini was a fucking idiot too. We've been fucked.
Yeah.
For a long time. And Bilic, an idiot before him.
It's wasted potential. I'm not saying he's playing well because I don't think he is. I think he could play better. But like, no other team around us has a striker as good as him, and yet they're playing to their strike of strengths. Yet we're not because we're. I don't know.
Is it against the rule book of West Ham United Football Club? Like, I don't understand. You're right, 100%. But before we get into a few, go ahead, Tom.
So this is what happens when you don't have scouts. You know, a scout would do a report and say, if your plan is to play one up top, don't bother buying Haller because he can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, you should know that before you buy a player. You don't. They made a splashy signing, right? They said, "Yeah, we're going to spend 45 million on Haller.
Keep the fans happy.
It's going to be brilliant. Friends, keep the fans happy. You know, big money, big name." Mm-hmm. And it's true, we were. Yeah. But you can't bring him in and then play him up top on his own. It's a waste of money and a waste of time. So you have to buy the players you need who will fit your system. Mm-hmm. You can buy Jamie Vardy and do that with him. He's brilliant up top on his own. But Haller was never going to work up top on his own. So if you're a manager who plays one up top, you ought to know that you can't do it with Haller. And clearly we had no clue that we couldn't do it with Haller because we don't send scouts out to look at people.
It's sad because even all the fans knew that. And we still know that. And we still scream that. And yet nothing changes. The few times we've done it, it's worked out okay. But I think it's more so he does need two people near him. I don't think just one. I don't think two up top is necessarily the best scenario for him. He needs someone close, unless one of your wings is, inverted and really got to get up there with him.
Playing one up front, you have to have the wingers getting near him.
Yeah,
in the same fucking postcode as him would be useful. Like it's stupid. It's utterly stupid. And the thing is now I can't believe in my heart of hearts that David Moyes does not know this. I just think David Moyes is too scared to even think about remotely attacking a football pitch at any stage during his life, to put anyone near him, to put anyone in an attacking position. That's kind of, again, to bring it back to Bowen, that's why I'm excited, because I don't think him and Antonio is a great example. He doesn't. I don't think Antonio has a football brain, but what he does do is he picks up the ball and he goes, I'm bringing this as far forward as I can. I'm progressing this. We are going for it. And that's super useful. And that's what I'm really excited to see about Bowen is I think he has that. The times I have seen him, that's what he does. He picks up the ball and he drives. He's not super fast. He's not this he's a bit like Rob Ben in that sense. He's not lightning quick. He's not going to burst past 8 people like Adama Traore. But what he will do is he'll take it, he'll go central, and he's going to pop off some shots. And that's sort of useful. That's what we need. That's what we need next to him. Whether it's 2 people next to him, whether it's 3 people next to him, I don't care. Just get people next to him. And if it's Bowen and Antonio, all of a sudden we play that out ball. There's going to be people in and around Pele to pick up that second ball and then let them take it on and go further with it. But I just think David Moyes he's a chicken.
Yeah, pretty much. Before we, well, first of all, they're not helping anybody by not playing him to his strengths, because if we do get relegated, we're not even going to get a fourth of the money that we bought him for. Looking at his recent form and stats and everything else. But my point is that I got one more question from the chat room before we do a couple Hammers polls before we close this out. And that's from Jayaz, and he asks, how many points can we grab with the remaining games? But I also want to know, how many do you think we need, not just what we'll grab it, how many do you think we'll need to stay up? I'll start with Tommy and go around.
Oh, I think we've got 13 games left. Given our position, you have to imagine teams around us will win some games as well. So of the 13, I think we'll have to win at least 4 of them, and that's assuming that we're going to grab some draws, which I think we will. So I would say at least 4 wins, which will be 12 points plus some draws. I think I'm going to say 4, given that some of the other they wouldn't all be losses other than the 4 wins. So I'm going to say 4, and we should scrape it, because the teams around us, a lot of them have actually got very difficult run-ins themselves. So I don't think any of those are going to go on any great winning runs or anything. So I think it's going to go down to the wire. I think 4 wins and pick up a few draws as well, and that should see us over the line.
Okay, Charlie?
Yeah, I probably agree. I think it's going to be a very tight relegation battle this year. I wouldn't be surprised if someone went down on goal difference. It's a low score. It's weird. Points wise, it's a low season, but I think you're looking at maybe 30. I think 17th, 18th will be about 35, 36 points, maybe something like that. So I agree. I think Tommy's pretty bang on there. But I think it's going to be very, very tight. I honestly would not be surprised if A, we survive on the final day of the season, and B, I wouldn't be surprised if someone went down on goal difference.
Yeah, I mean, if we need to beat Villa on the final day, I mean, that's essentially just a cup final game. I mean, that would be something that could be played at Wembley.
Get Kevin Nolan back on the pitch.
Yeah.
Let's go. Tell him.
And recall Big George.
Yeah, man. Wally, what do you think, man? What do you think we will get, and what do you think we need to stay up?
Well, I think we're going to get 13 because we've been averaging about a point per game. So I think that'll continue. I'm a little worried. I'm worried because a lot of the normally better teams aren't like crushing the lesser teams this season. So I think the points needed are going to be higher than usual because a lot of the lower teams are have done well against Arsenal or Chelsea or Tottenham. A lot of better teams that normally are just crushing them all. So I'm a little worried about that. And boy, I think like you say, it's going to go down to that Villa match at the end, which it's going to make for an exciting day. But I'm going to have to be at the bar drinking heavily.
I think we'll clinch the day before. I think we'll clinch the game before that one. And I think we're going to get 17 points. And I only think there's going to be 4 victories. So I think we're going to be getting a shitload of draws because we're going to be fighting and fighting and fighting. I don't think – here's the thing. We could end up with more than 4 wins. but we're going to get at least 4 wins. And I think out of those four victories, I think 2 of them are going to be against top 6 clubs. That's just because that's who we are. And I think there's going to be a lot of those top 6 clubs. They're going to be worn out as the season goes along. Plus, we never know who's going to get injured between now and then. You know, they lose one key player that totally throws off their system. I can't say like a Liverpool because they could lose their plug and play. I mean, they got a nice system going on. But at Manchester City, they lose one guy there. The next person they bring in is completely different and totally just ruins their style of play. So anyway, I think that we'll get 2 against big teams, and I think we'll get at least 2 against the shitty teams like a Watford or a Norwich. And I think we'll lose to Villa in the last game of the season because it doesn't even mean a shit because I think we're going to clinch the game before anweigh.
Beating Southampton would go a long way towards it. That's going to be huge.
I think so. I really do. Yeah. We're always 50-50 with them, right? I mean, for the most part. I mean, we either play really well against them or we don't. But last season, I know at the end of the year, we smashed them, right? We beat them like 3-1 or something like that.
We beat them at their place this season. So
yeah. That definitely helps. So that might mean we're due for a loss against them too. I don't know. But I think that, you know, a team like City or a team like Man United, I think that's those are clubs that we can beat. I think Chelsea, I mean, we could probably beat them, you know, but it all depends on who they put out there and how strong they are.
Which Chelsea turns up. Chelsea blow hot and cold. You never quite know what you'll get with them.
And it's one of those things where they're not the games that are going to save you. They're bonus points. And, like, don't get me wrong, bonus points are going to save you, but, like, any of the small teams could realistically pop a win up against Chelsea, for example. I don't think we're any different to that right now in this situation than we would be than, say, I don't know, whoever, Norwich. I mean, like, for example, Norwich are one of those teams, they look atrocious, they look like they're going down, but when Norwich have been at their best this year, and arguably that was incredibly early on, don't get me wrong, but they were brilliant. And they have that capacity to do that again. And I think a lot of the teams in the bottom have the ability
there's always like one team that just starts winning out of nowhere and just goes on a run. You know, so it could be Watford even. You know, they look a lot livelier now under Pearson.
Plus, they have Deeney back. Troy Deeney, he carries them. He's, you know, he's a fighter. You know, like he will fight. So anyway.
Yeah, we've often seen a team that looks like they're dead and buried. You know, just come out of nowhere and start winning games and save themselves. So hopefully Norwich ain't going to go and do that on us.
Yep. Well, look at these sexy bastards right there.
Got more guests.
Yeah. That was last night's show. If you haven't checked that out, please do. We had, it was Lee and Selly, obviously, but they had John from Las Vegas come on and discuss the upcoming West Ham Way USA event, which will be in August. If we're in the Premier League, it'll be the first weekend of the season. And if we're not, if we're in championship, it'll be the second weekend of the season. And he said, don't fret if we end up at championship. They'll make sure that they have a private location, that a private party where they'll be able to have the ESPN Plus stream of the match. So anyway, real quickly, there's going to be 2 Hammers polls. We don't really have much time to elaborate too much, but if you feel like you're burning desire to do so, go for it. And we'll start with Wally and go clockwise. Right? Clockwise. So if Gold and Sullivan are not willing to sell, would the next best option be to replace Brady with a new chief executive? Wally.
Oh, I would say no. I think it's useful having her as a foil for everybody to, get everybody riled up and angry. And that kind of takes the heat off Gold and Sullivan. And I don't see really, I think our problem is the football. We're not, I think, not that I go to the stadium or anything, but I think our real problem is, they spend all this money on players and they have no scouts, and that I don't think she's responsible for that stuff. So I would say just keep her.
All right, so I forgot that we're not in a circle anymore. So we'll go down the totem pole. Charlie.
I don't think she's good at her job, but at the same time, I don't think it will make any reasonable or big changes getting rid of her. Unfortunately, I think, to be honest with you, any chief executive probably struggle under the constraints that they get given by the people above them. Do I think she's good at it? No. Would someone else be better? Probably. Do I think it will be any meaningful change? No. I think it's they have to go or whatever at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, completely agree with Charlie. It's what I was going to say, essentially. I think people will vote yes on this because they just do not like Karen Brady. But essentially, I don't think it'll make a blind bit of difference because at the end of the day, that chief executive will still be working for Golden Sullivan.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly on that one. So I'll just say no for shits and giggles. And yeah, so 82%.
Yeah, everybody wants her gone, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's only 163 votes. This was done 13 hours ago. So anybody watching this, if you want to go on over to Twitter, check out @Hammers Polls and voice your opinion. Maybe, shift the numbers a different way. I don't know. Lastly, we have, we've kind of already talked about this, but we'll just do it for, anyway. So was the abandoned Man City match a blessing in disguise, as it meant no fresh injury concerns and a chance to have a rejuvenated and regroup, or to get rejuvenated and regroup? We'll start with Tommy and go up.
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier. I suppose I'll have to say yes. For the reasons I stated earlier, it gives players like Anderson a chance to come back fit. It means maybe they miss one less game, they play in one more game than they might have, and it gives Bowen and Socek a little bit more time to get settled in with the team and in the training ground. So, yes.
Charlie.
Yes, I still think we'll get absolutely whacked by them, but yes, it's just a better thing for the team overall, in my opinion.
Now, there's rumors about the game being on the 19th. Is that true? Is there any truth to that? Being postponed or rescheduled for the Wednesday the 19th?
I'm not sure.
No, nobody knows.
I don't know.
Did you
all
guys,
I heard
anybody
was
see
that
that?
yeah, I think they were trying to get us to play it the next weekend, but I think both teams are refusing because people have made plans. So I haven't heard anything other than that.
All right. Wally, what do you think, man?
I'm taking this personally, and I'm going to say no because I'm really annoyed. I was looking forward to seeing Bradley, the New Orleans yesterday, drinking at Finn McCool's with him, and I'm just annoyed. And I'm in a city. I'm in New Orleans, which gets hurricanes and massive storms all the time. We're below sea level in this town, and we can handle the wet and the wind here. So I'm
pretty sure that you and Bradley could start your own party no matter what, though. I'm pretty sure you both could have a damn good time with or without a West Ham match.
I think we could, yeah.
Yeah. You're both very good guys, and I think you do have a lot of fun without that. Well, honestly, would you rather watch the match and have that bring you guys down?
Well, no, I was excited because just to hang out with him and the other New Orleans folks. And it's a fun bar. I had no expectation of us, winning or anything. And it was a late game, for this area. It's like a 10:30 at Central Time. So my wife was going to come. So we were going to have a great time. But a little bit of rain.
Listen, Wally, okay, the winds were at least 10 miles an hour. I don't think you understand. If he kicked the ball, it might have gone ever so slightly it was pandemonium. He couldn't do it. It was just big storms. There was rain for a bit. Oh, it was nuts.
Listen, I watched the West Ham women. One of them, Leanne Kiernan. She posted some clip of her, in this massive storm, and getting blown, holding the railing and all this stuff, and then her shoe came off and she had to stop and put her shoe back on, and then continued on with it.
Well, I saw Baz Cox's gazebo in the backyard that got destroyed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, he posted that on Facebook. That was interesting.
Oh, wow.
So, no, people definitely felt the effects. Real quick, just want to, listen, our next match, I want to know, you guys want this man to start?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if so, then who else starts with him? I want to know, who plays with them? What does your top formation look like? Where your midfield up? What does it look like to make that actually happen? And I know, Tommy, you were talking about Anderson too. I'd love to see Anderson back in the squad with this guy. But who else plays? Because we all want Bowen. We all, feel that Antonio should be in there if he's fit. Well, explain to me.
I kind of gave mine away earlier.
Yeah.
So, like I say, I think we play much better with flat back four. I'm not a fan of the wing backs. So obviously Fabianski starts. It's a no-brainer. Right back, I would still next game. I'm not sure exactly on the fitness of Ben Johnson or Anderson at this point, or when exactly they would be available to and be ready to start a game. So I'm going to just leave both of those out for now, because I don't know exactly if they're ready to start. But maybe if they make the bench. But I would put Johnson at right back. He's young and promising, and I've really liked what I've seen from him. I'm not a fan of Frederick. Zabaleta's just getting on a bit. So Johnson right back, Diop and Ogbonna in the centre. I know Diop has had his some struggles. I know he hasn't been brilliant. He's made some mistakes, but so has Balbuena. And I think the reason is that they keep being swapped in and out of the team.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to get settled in when you don't know if you're starting week on week or if the other guy's going to come in again. You remember when Ogbonna was brought back in? Initially, he was shaky. He had 2 or 3 games where he looked dodgy, and people were saying, "Jesus, get him out the team." But once he's settled in, Ogbonna's been fantastic. So I think put Diop in there and leave him there; he'll be fine. And then left back Cresswell, because I don't really have any other option. Yeah. And then I have Rice in front of the back four. Mm-hmm. This was my team for City, by the way, so I'll just stick with it for now. And in front of Rice, I had 3 midfielders. I had on the left of the 3, I had Fornals. In the centre, I had Souček, and beside Souček, I had Snodgrass, because I felt we'd need some work rate in there as well, and his deliveries are absolutely brilliant from crosses and set pieces. And then up top, I had Bowen and Anderson, and Antonio.
Yeah.
So I had Heller on the bench, hasn't done enough for me. So that was my team. It was a 4-1-3-2.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like that. Charlie, what do you think?
It'd be 4-3-3. I'd play Nagakia, or however you pronounce his name, at right back. I really liked what I saw of him.
Me too.
I'd like to see him again if Ben Johnson's not fit. And if Ben Johnson's only just coming back, just let him rest. Let him recuperate fully.
Yeah, we tend to rush him back.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Then it would be, for me, midfield 3 of Rice, Souček, and Fornals, and then the front 3 of Bowen, Haller, and Antonio.
Okay, all right. I like that. Yeah,
that's a nice midfield 3.
I like. The thing is it just Noble can't. I think Noble needs some time away from the team a little bit, not like completely, but just away from being like the person in the middle of the pitch. Fornals just has to play. I still don't get why he's not. He's just the most creative player we have in that sense.
Noble was essentially begging for just to sign someone to give him a rest.
Yeah.
And
I think having Souček and then being able to bring Fornals in that role is super useful. We need him in for the creativity. Souček needs time to adapt more. He looked decent when he played as well, and he should be able to play the exact same role as Noble with aplomb. And then just that front 3, Antonio, Bowen, Haller, get Bowen and Antonio really going. I'm really excited to see it, and I very infamously don't like Mikel Antonio, and yet I'm hyped to see those two just going at it. That's what I want.
But at the same time, we kind of need it. Yeah, I do respect the fact that we definitely need someone like that.
We're all going to be so crestfallen when we see David Moyes' next team sheet.
I'm going to go ahead and skip over Wally because I know what he's going to say, and I don't want to hear him say it out loud. No, just kidding. Go ahead, say it.
Oh, well.
Who's your right back, Wally?
You guys are spot on, but on the right back issue, you got to have Fredericks. I mean, that guy can fly up the side, and I love when he comes back and makes a last-ditch flying tackle in the penalty area, and maybe sometimes there's a penalty, but a lot of times it's a good tackle. So, but yeah, no, I agree. Souček instead of Noble, because Noble needs a rest, and that's what I'll say. I'm not sure. I'd like to see Anderson back in if he's fit, but I like the sound of the Bowen So yeah.
Yeah, I do.
What do you think? I'm not a.
I would do Bowen and Antonio up top,
Okay.
or Bowen and Allaire if that's their choice. Because I'm not even sure Antonio is 100% fit yet. I don't think he ever will be. That's another one where we keep rushing him back too soon, and he gasses himself out too quickly.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Maybe this. Sorry, Tim. Apologies. I'm just thinking when you said that maybe this break will then do him the most good.
Yeah. No. Probably. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I would say have Allaire come off the bench for him, in the 60-something minute, because that's usually what he's good for anyway. But I would like to see, 4 across with Antonio. Sorry, Anderson and Fornals on the other side, with Souček and Rice in the middle. And no, I mean, like, Snodgrass has been on crazy form, but again, he's probably one of the more inconsistent players. Yes, he's a hustler, 100%. He gives it every single match, but talent-wise, he's just I don't know. I would leave Snodgrass on the bench and bring him off as a super sub. Bring him on as a super sub. Sorry, for any of those 4 across the midfield that I mentioned. I think Anderson deserves to be out there. I just feel that I feel that he can really pull off something against some big clubs. He doesn't get intimidated by the players. What his problem is, he was told not to go inside the box. He's told anytime you see the box, you have the ball near the box, retreat. So hopefully that's changed now that Moyes is there. So anyway, the back 4 doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just obviously Cresswell and Diop, and I can't believe I'm saying Diop, but I mean, he's been all right. He's 50-50. He either has a good game or a bad game. Ogbonna, obviously. Balbuena is just, I don't think he's cut out for a Premier League, really, after watching his previous performances. And Ngakia, like Charlie was saying, I'd love to see him at right back again. But if Ben Johnson's healthy, I would definitely put him. I would actually rather see Zabaleta than any Tottenham Hotspur Academy graduates. Where's my banner again? Yeah. So anyway, no Fredericks for me. I did manage a photo op while I did the stadium tour while I was over there, and I was like, all right, which one's the mural of Fredericks? They had these big giant murals of all these different players and such, and sure enough, they did have a Fredericks one in there. And I made sure to take.
I'm going over then. If there's a Fredericks mural, I want to see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you'll have to follow me somewhere.
In front of the Fredericks mural.
Oh yeah. But anyway,
just to point out, I wouldn't have Snodgrass starting if everyone is fit either. The team I kind of threw out to you there was the one that I had picked for the Man City game, given who we did have fit. So, if Anderson's fit and good to go, then it'd be difficult to leave him out the side. Yeah,
Fredericks is first and foremost a spud, and secondly, he's just not cut out for the Premier League. He's super fast, but who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck about speed. I want people who actually know what the hell they're doing, know their teammates, and actually, not give the ball away. So
Zabaleta's a better right back than Fredericks.
I think so. I
just can't play as a wing back, but as a right back in a flat 4, Zabaleta's still a better player.
He's got a better brain, better brain for it. Anyway, just want to thank you guys so much. So Tommy, thank you so much for popping in over there in Ireland, and Charlie over there in England, and Wally down there in New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans.
And me up here in Lowell, Massachusetts. Freezing my ass off. Been sick for like a week since I've been back from London because it's so damn cold. It's like, all right, we'll be 40 degrees, 1 degree, 30 degrees, 2 degrees, 12 degrees, snow, ice, rain, blah, 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 blah. Fucking horrible. I can't stand New England. And so anyway, long story short, I had a great time over there in London, and I did get to manage to hug Mr. Charlie down there, and that was one of my highlights of the trip. So anyway, I just wanted to say we will be back with something tomorrow. I don't know what kind of show. I know Luis from Brazil might be popping on. And Wednesday we got Lee and PJ. That's who I was trying to remember. Like, who do I have on tomorrow with? Or Wednesday? PJ Miller from Kansas City Hammers will be on with somebody else. I don't know who yet. And a whole bunch more shows. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff. Also, we have a massive announcement in the works. Which should be happening within the next week or two. In the meantime, we're trying to get our blogs out, and so Alex with the website AmericanHammers.net is actually started the process for us to be able to put our blogs there, which will then be simulcast on Knees Up on the Brown. Good friends over there. Be sure to check out our website for that. Also, we did fix the UK shop, so now we're using Redbubble, so you can actually see items in pounds instead of seeing the dollars, which apparently turned off a lot of you because it's more in dollars than it would be pounds. But anyway, long story short, we're fixing the shops. Lots of cool stuff. Please support the shop, because I understand that we talk about it all the time and it seems like we're talking about it too much. But the point is, we don't want to ask for money, but it costs money to do what we're doing. So what we do is we say, well, if you buy something, you'll at least get something in return, and it helps us out. And also will help out supporters groups. If you buy like a shirt that Wally's wearing, like it'll help out West Ham Philly. We also have other supporters groups. Pick the supporters group of your choice, buy something from them, help them out. And just want to thank everybody in the chat room tonight. Faux Sheezy, Penny Lawless, and so on and so on. Joan and Jay Yaz, Darren Higgins. Listen, there was so many people I haven't even seen before, like Station and so on. Looks like Wayne popped in tonight. Who else? Faux Sheezy, was great to see you. Bradley Holland popped in on Facebook. Yeah. So we had Lena over on Periscope watching us. So thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys off the air. But in the meantime, fucking irons.
Come on, you irons.